When he bent down to retrieve it, he was terrified to find a hideous clown lurking inside. He introduced himself as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. The stranger even knew the boy's name, and a bad feeling instantly washed over Georgie. He just wanted to grab his boat and get away from there as fast as he could. But the moment he reached his hand inside, the clown's smile twisted, revealing rows of sharp teeth, and he bit Georgie's arm off in a flash. Blood quickly stained the rainwater red. Georgie struggled, trying desperately to escape, but in the very next second, he was dragged into the black depths of the sewer. With Georgie gone, his big brother Bill's life turned upside down. He felt consumed by guilt because he was the one who made that paper boat for Georgie. So even after their parents gave up the search, Bill refused to stop looking. But before he could find Georgie, his classmates started experiencing one supernatural event after another. While helping out at his family's slaughterhouse, Mike saw a terrifying vision from the night his parents died, with burning hands reaching for him from a barely open alley door. Just as he stepped forward to investigate, those hands inexplicably vanished. All that remained was a clown, waving his arms at him. The horrifying sight nearly made Mike pass out on the spot. It wasn't until a worker came out that he finally let out a breath of relief. Meanwhile, inside the synagogue, Stan was drawn to a painting of a woman. Staring at the eerie image, Stan felt an indescribable sense of dread. At first, he didn't think much of it, and just planned to put his book down and leave. Unexpectedly, a loud crash came from behind him. Stan turned around and found the painting had fallen to the floor for no reason. Trembling, Stan worked up the courage to walk over. But the moment he hung the picture back up, the monster burst out of the frame. Terrified, Stan took off running. Almost at the exact same time, Ben encountered something strange too. While researching at the library, he found records of numerous deaths. Even stranger, the scenes described in the deaths were all disturbingly similar. Driven by curiosity, Ben flipped through the book, page after page. When he saw a severed head appear out of nowhere on the last page, Ben was totally freaked out. By the time he collected himself, a red balloon had suddenly appeared nearby. Ben instinctively followed it. As he got closer, he saw a headless, charred boy walking slowly toward him.
Eat your Cheese Whiz para strong. Cheese Whiz, for the strength to do more.
Egg boy.
Ben scrambled to escape, but the moment he got outside, Henry's gang spotted him. Henry was a notorious school bully who loved picking on people, so naturally, when he saw Ben, he decided to make his move. Henry pinned Ben against the railing, pulled out a knife, and carved his own initials into Ben's stomach. Everyone else thought Henry was going too far, but he didn't care at all. Although Ben managed to break free, Henry wasn't about to let him off that easily. After Ben tumbled down the slope, Henry chased after him, relentless as ever. On the way, he accidentally lost the knife his father had given him. Henry was afraid his father would scold him for it, so he told his two buddies to go look for it. But by the time they reached the bottom of the hill, Henry was already nowhere to be seen. At that moment, Bill and the others also arrived in the area. They discovered a cave deep in the woods. Inside, it was not only pitch black, but it also gave off a strong, disgusting smell. Bill wanted to go inside the cave and check it out, but Eddie, who was with him, didn't want to take that risk. While the two of them were arguing, the other kids found a sneaker in the cave belonging to a missing girl named Betty. It had already been a long time since Betty went missing. No one expected to find any clue about her here. Bill guessed that Betty might have been kept inside. They hesitated, unsure if they should go in. Suddenly, Ben showed up out of nowhere. At the same time, Henry's friend Patrick had also arrived. When he saw that everything around him was quiet, Patrick thought Ben was hiding inside the cave. So without saying a word, he walked in. Holding his lighter, Patrick kept flicking the gas can in his hand, trying to scare Ben into coming out. He had no idea he was walking deeper and deeper inside. The air behind him grew colder and colder. Then a strange, creepy laugh echoed from the darkness. Patrick was scared out of his mind. He ran wildly through the cave, but at some point the exit had been locked shut with chains. With no way out, Patrick had to pick up a stick from the ground to defend himself. But when the red balloon appeared, all his efforts suddenly felt completely useless. Meanwhile, Bill and the guys made it out of the woods. On their way back, they met a girl named Beverly. From that point on, they didn't just become best friends, they started hanging out all the time. One day, Ben told them a story about the history of Derry. In the beginning, Derry started as a beaver trapping camp, but as word got out, more and more people flocked to the town. Then something unexplained happened. In a single day, 91 people mysteriously vanished, leaving absolutely no sign of an attack behind. At the time, people guessed they had died from some kind of plague. But unbelievably, the very next day, those people miraculously woke up. As if by agreement, they all left the town, and no one had a clue where they went. The only clue was a trail of bloody clothes leading to the well house. Hearing this sent shivers down everyone's spines, but they never imagined that the curse had already quietly descended upon them. On his way home, Eddie passed a house that had been abandoned for ages. It was completely covered in vines, and not a single blade of grass grew on the land around it. Seeing this, Eddie felt a deep sense of unease. Right then, the front door suddenly creaked open, and a strange noise drifted out from inside. In his panic, Eddie accidentally spilled his pills all over the ground. He hurriedly bent down to pick them up, but in the next second, a rotting leper suddenly appeared. The terrifying sight scared him so bad he ran for his life. Meanwhile, Beverly, who was in the bathroom, encountered something supernatural too. She was thinking about everything that had happened recently when she heard mysterious voices coming from the sink. As Beverly leaned closer, the voices became clearer and more real. Realizing someone might be down there, Beverly quickly stuck a measuring tape into the drain. But just as she was about to pull it back, she saw a clump of bloody hair on the end of it. Suddenly, thick strands of hair shot out and wrapped tightly around her head. Her father heard the commotion and rushed in immediately, but he didn't see anything wrong at all. The scene shifted. Bill also spotted a strange figure, and it began communicating with him, pretending to be his little brother, Georgie. The next day, Bill and the gang gathered together. They each shared the terrifying things they had encountered. After hearing their stories, Ben shared his own theory. He discovered that major tragedies struck the town every 27 years, and this year just happened to be the 27th year. The kids finally realized that they were all being stalked by the same thing. They gave this entity a name, It. But at this point, their only option was to find a way to stop it quickly. They gather in Bill's garage. By mapping out its movements, they finally pinpointed its hiding spot. There were too many creepy coincidences, and Eddie couldn't handle it. But just as he ripped the map down, the slide projector started clicking through slides on its own. Then, in the projection, the woman's hair flips up in the wind, revealing the pale, grinning face of the clown hiding underneath. In the nick of time, Ben kicked open the garage door. This made Bill realize something important. To break the illusions it was using against them, they had to go to that abandoned house, because it had once said that house was its home. Soon, the group headed over there together. However, only Bill, Eddie, and Richie were willing to take the risk. As soon as the front door opened, a strong smell of decay hit them in the face. Richie spotted a missing person flyer in the corner. Then, they heard a girl crying for help from upstairs. They rushed up to check. It turned out to be Betty, who had been missing for days, but she was barely alive. Before Bill could do anything, Betty was violently yanked back into the darkness. Got locked inside a room. Eddie was desperate to regroup with them. Unexpectedly, a large hole opened up in the floor. Then, that leper appeared again. Eddie falls through a rotten floor all the way down to the first level. At that moment, inside the room, Richie was drawn to a coffin. He gathered his courage. After pulling back the lining, he discovered a doll lying inside that looked exactly like him. Its face was covered in scars. Richie quickly slammed the coffin shut. Just then, it leaped into the air, charging straight at him. Luckily, in the nick of time, Bill appeared and saved Richie. Just as they tried to escape quickly, 3 doors appeared, blocking their path. Without a second thought, they threw open the first door. A terrifying woman appeared, looking like she was about to attack them. Richie slammed the door shut, freaking out in pure terror. Then Bill suddenly remembered that this was all just an illusion created by the clown. So, he opened a door at random. It actually worked, and they escaped. They even managed to save Eddie, who was in serious danger. It was furious that Bill and Richie had interfered. Just as it prepared to finish them off, Beverly suddenly appeared and drove a long metal spike straight into its head. The group seized the chance to escape the house. After that, they didn't dare go near that place again. Their lives gradually went back to normal. But just when everyone thought the nightmare was over, it struck again without warning. When Bill found out Beverly had been taken, he immediately gathered his friends. But this time was different. Bill had figured out how to stop it from hurting them.
Stan, we all have to go. Stick together. All of us. We'll win. I promise.
Persuaded by Bill, the group ventured deep into the well again, determined to rescue Beverly. However, they never expected that Beverly was already completely under the clown's control. With their combined efforts, they brought Beverly back down to the ground, and she quickly regained her senses. But Bill ran into big trouble. It transformed into Georgie, trying to manipulate Bill's mind. However, Bill didn't fall for it at all. Without hesitating, he pulled the trigger of the bolt gun. Bill's action thoroughly enraged it. It shifted back into the clown form, determined to tear him to pieces. Powerless to fight back, Bill urged his friends to leave, but none of them wanted to be cowards who abandoned a friend. Under their combined attack, it was beaten back again and again. Finally, it was forced to retreat into the well. The captive children gradually regained consciousness. Only Georgie was nowhere to be found. It seemed the story of It had not ended there.
I did a Bachelor of Commerce at Deakin, hearing about the